Hello, my name is Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about unchanging Brahman, unchanging self. Brahman and self are equivalent. They're not separate. They're not other. And so what I'm really trying to talk about today is the unchanging aspect. Because some people really confuse that aspect. They think that, well, then, that somehow disproves that change happens, which isn't quite right. In saying that Brahman or self is unchanging doesn't invalidate or make all change fake or illusory. Change can still happen. Change in variety happens. There's pattern. There is form. But you must realize that Brahman is the substratum. It's the substance. Just like I had mentioned in a video where I used gold as an analogy for Brahman, and as a quick summary, you can see more in the video if you want. But you could have a gold plate, a gold necklace, a gold spoon, and regardless of the forms, it's gold. That's the substance. That's the substratum. And so, if you melt down the gold plate and make some gold knives out of it, yes, the form, the pattern changed. All forms and patterns are temporary. But did the gold change? Well, no, the gold didn't change. The gold is still gold, as it always has been. The gold is no more, no less, and inherently hasn't changed. The substance is unchanged. It's still the same. The only thing that changed is the temporary pattern or form that the substance is basically helping to be. Because a gold ring, for example, this gold ring, it's not other than gold. You can't say that it's other than gold. It's definitely gold. But the form, the pattern, is temporary. And whether the forms or patterns change does not matter. Gold is still gold, regardless. Likewise, Brahman, self, is always Brahman, self. It's always the substratum. It's always the substance, which is what is the world. And so, although the forms may temporarily be as they are and change, the substance is still the same. You can think about maybe in terms of energy. The energy that makes up this chair, the energy that makes up the plant or the planter behind me, the bricks, this body. It doesn't matter. Energy is energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. The forms may change, but it's always energy. And so the energy is changeless. Maybe that will help some people grasp the unchanging aspect of Brahman self. It doesn't matter what the forms do. If the forms change, it doesn't affect the substance. The substance, the substratum, does not change, does not increase, does not decrease, never created, destroyed, never better or worse, never becomes something else. The substratum, like the gold in the ring, the gold always remains gold, regardless of the form. And so you could say that the form changes or grows into something else, but the substance remains the same, regardless. And so that's really what they're talking about when they're saying Brahman is unchanging, or the self is unchanging. It is talking about the substratum, not that change doesn't happen. Because that's what sometimes happens when people hear the phrase Brahman is unchanging or the self is unchanging. They think that must mean no change actually happens, which isn't the case. It just means that the substance doesn't change. The forms change, of course. That's not an illusion. Forms change. Forms are temporary. But again, the forms are not other than the substance. This ring is not other than gold. And so in this way, you got to really remember what they're pointing to when they're saying Brahman and self. It's the substratum, it's the substance. Not that the forms are other than that, but that the changing forms doesn't mean it's a change in substance. Changing a form doesn't change its substance. So I'm hoping that's understood. And so I'm hoping this clarifies this a bit, because like I said, I sometimes get people confused because they're like, well, how does growth or change or things happen if Brahman's unchanging? That's how. It's the substance. And we're too often focused on the form, and the form is not relevant when you're talking about unchanging Brahman. Anyways, if you got any questions, comments, please post below. But until next time, thank you much.